Hello, everyone. Welcome to ERP Talks. I'm your host, Khaled Soliman, and today we are very happy having Jon Simmonds with us today. Jon is master in ERP space, especially in SAP, S4HANA. Jon, we are very happy having you today in our show.
Thank you, guys. I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate it.
We appreciate that you accepted our invitation. Before we dive into the tech talk, tell us your story. So, what is the turning point that led you to the ERP field?
Yeah, thanks, guys. I suppose, like many of your listeners, it was kind of by accident or a series of accidents, at least. So believe it or not, I never actually intended to go into IT at all. My dad was an IT teacher, and so I was always interested in IT. I left university with a politics degree, hoping to go into journalism, believe it or not. Um, as a result, I got a
Oh,
job in a publishing company, and worked my way through there, became a customer service manager actually in that company. And then the company embarked upon an ERP implementation, and SAP was chosen, and I was seconded onto that project as the data implementation manager. I had some background in data from previous role, and so that was probably a couple of years. That project, quite a long project, and then the person who was the SD consultant on that project, the sales and distribution consultant for SAP on that project, left the company, and so yeah, I took up the opportunity and got myself certified, and it kind of the rest is history. I've been in a few organisations since then, worked on many projects. And so, gone from, being a sales and distribution lead, right through various architecture roles, and now I'm IT director for a big pharmaceutical company and life science company, focusing on the architecture of our ERP landscape. Very large ERP landscape. We have dozens and dozens of ERP systems, not just SAP. And so we work on trying to pull that all together into one kind of unified ERP strategy for the organization.
interesting. So, from politics
Yes, so
to a tech guy, this is really interesting. And I believe this is what happened with everyone with us. An electrical engineer and I'm working in the oil and gas industry. Then now I am an SAP guy. So before we dive in the tech things, can you share with us your like morning routine? Everybody have a morning routine, and especially nowadays because not
yeah,
everybody is working daily from the office. So do you have a routine that you can share with us?
yeah. I mean, for me, it's a little bit different. I mean, yeah, you're right. I work 100% remotely, so I have a team of people reporting to me, and they're based in the US, UK, Hungary, and India. So pretty much all over the world, and so I don't really have an office to go to. There is a local office, which is about 45 minutes drive, but I work 100% remotely. So, and due to those time zone differences, morning routines are quite difficult for me. Sometimes it might be a 5:30 a.m. start if I'm dealing with people in Asia Pacific, for example, or in Australia. Sometimes it might be a very late finish. So what I tend to try and do in the mind is I look at my calendar ahead, prepare myself in advance so I can get up if it's an early start, I can get up very early, very quickly, and jump on those early calls. And then at some point during the morning, either start the morning or after some early calls, I'll stop, I'll have a coffee, and I'll just have a look at some personal messages and maybe have a read, and then get back into the day after that. And um, for me, gurus let's say on social media who talk about their morning routine of getting up at 4 a.m., going for workouts and all this kind of stuff. And I have an inbuilt dislike for those kind of things because for me, you don't have to be a morning person to be successful. I'm naturally not a morning person. I would naturally work later in the evening. That's what I tend to do, mainly because I deal with a lot of people in the US. So it comes as a shock when I have to get up early. So morning routines and me don't really play that aren't very friendly with each other. But for me, coffee plays a big part.
Mm.
Helps me out.
For everyone. Do you think that working from home productivity is not that good when you work from home, when you work remotely, and especially when it's 100%? So do you agree with this?
Yeah, I don't think it's a black and white picture like that. I don't think it's either bad for productivity or good for productivity. It's certainly more challenging working from home. And as a manager, it's important that you don't micromanage your people who are working from home. You don't try and understand every last thing that they're doing. But what is vital is that you set um, realistic goals for your staff, and so that you can monitor those goals. And for me, as long as my team are achieving my goals that I'm setting them, as long as they are moving the company forward in the correct way and working towards the business goals. I don't care if they work on the moon. They can work anywhere they like. Because it doesn't make any difference. The one thing I would say, which does concern me slightly about working from home, is new new people, new consultants, fresh out of university, whatever, freshly certified and qualified. I think you can just give someone a laptop and a mobile phone and say, go home and do some work. Um, because it's very, very important for them to get those discussions in an office environment. And that's how they learn. That's how relationships are built. And I have a
Yeah,
concern that
exactly.
working from home doesn't always agree with that. So I suppose if you ask me what the ideal situation would be, it's kind of a hybrid approach. A couple of days
Yeah,
at home or a couple of days in the office would be ideal.
yeah. This is the hybrid model is the best for me also. So
Right,
you have the chance that meet your team, you learn from each other, and also you have this flexibility. You're working from any place remotely, and you can do the job at the end of the day. So
absolutely
that's
right.
really interesting. So let's move to our next question, and it's about SAP, S for
Okay,
HANA.
okay,
So you did a lot of implementations.
yeah,
We need you to share with us like a successful implementation, the one that you never forget.
okay. When I think about SAP implementation, I've only done a few in S4 HANA, but done very many in ECC6 before that. I think probably the most memorable, and it's probably true for every SAP consultant, the most memorable one is your first one. Because for me it was a real eye opener for me. The first real long-winded SAP implementation. Um, very painful at times, but when I think back to the outcomes of it, it was a really really good experience. I learned a huge amount from it. And when I think back to the kind of things that we implemented as part of that project, just one example for we had because it was a large company, lots of email traffic coming in from customers to our customer service departments and our sales department. What we actually did as part of that project was we implemented for a ticketing system whereby all of the emails and all the inbound mail and all traffic scanned in or went directly into SAP. So you can straight into an SAP email, created a ticket notification in SAP, which can route it to all different departments and to the inbuilt workflow all the way along. But overnight, we went live in that. Overnight, we turned off all paper in the office. It was a paperless office overnight. And that was really quite, I mean, I'm talking back in 2004, 2005 now, so a long time ago. And so it's quite revolutionary at the time. Yeah, big impact on some of the users. We had one of our users actually wrote a song about it called the Daily Email Guide, to the tune of American Pie, the Don McLean. But yeah, really, really good and interesting project. And made a lot of friends in that project, which I still have friends for life now. So that's probably my most memorable one. Yeah.
Yeah, this is so good, especially when you finish the implementation and you see people that you did for them the implementation happy because of the value that you gave them. The return of investment now, you will see it, you
Yeah.
will see it after maybe 1 2 years, but not immediately.
I think that's an interesting point that you bring up, like, Alex. And I think it's really important for us as SAP consultants or ERP consultants never to lose sight of what it is we're trying to do. What are the actual business benefits you're bringing here? So it's very easy for us just to say, oh, well, we're just implementing a new ERP system. Yeah, but why? And it's what is really important for us is to understand what are the business goals we're driving towards. We've always got to keep those in the front of our mind and say, that's the why, and that's the way we need to get everyone to buy into that why to understand that we're not just creating a new, standing up a new laptop or a new iPhone or something. This is a business asset we are implementing here, and it needs real business tangible goals attached to it and will return on investment. It's really important. The big consultant, big consultant, freelancer.
Yeah, that's the challenging part for me because people have those kind of thoughts that you are selling them a tangible thing and you will see the return of investment because you now have your data on a system. You will do the transactions on a system. You will have all the technology regarding the AI, the machine learning. Everything now is helping you inside this system. But maybe it's challenging for me because SAP Business One is a different. We are working with a different segment. It's not like S4HANA.
Yeah,
S4HANA for huge companies. So
yeah,
maybe people, when they put this investment, they know 100% what is the return of this investment.
yeah.
Okay, so S4HANA again. Do you think that S4HANA is the best ERP solution for the big size companies?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question, and yeah, I had a background in SAP, but I worked with other ERPs and we have multiple ERPs that are around here. I work for now, including Oracle, Info, Microsoft Vision, all these different global, you know, it pretty much. But I have a reasonable breadth of understanding of these systems. Um, I think for me, a few things stand out about S4HANA. So firstly, when you think about SAP, the size of the company, SAP, is important because um, they have SAP as a company have so much experience with such a breadth of different industries that is really important. From a technology perspective, if we're really honest with ourselves here, then we can talk about in-memory database, we can talk about speed and power and insightful user experiences and predictive analytics and machine learning, all these great things that you can come with an SAP S/4HANA system. But all the major ERP players have the same now. From the Oracle, Microsoft, Info, they all have that pretty much the same offering. I think the advantage SAP has over them all is that deep industry experience. They've got so many customers. Um, so, and I think from a product perspective, if I look at the product, what I do really like about them is the business technology platform that SAP has now, BTP, where they provide one cloud platform, which is everything from a coding platform through shop, through integration and embedded analytics, all that stuff, all in one place, as like a one-stop shop that you can go to. Then it keeps everything away from your core, but keeping your core clean, so you're industrializing your upgrade and making maintenance easier and everything else. So SAP's been done pretty much front runner in that area. The other ERP systems are catching up very, very quickly. But for me, the major advantage of SAP is simply the size and the scale and the industry experience that they have in their implementation.
This is a great answer. So, S4HANA also is very, very high cost. It's not that affordable.
Mhm.
And a lot of business owners are thinking about that as well. So
Yeah.
I want to save money. I want to have this implementation successful because I will not put all that investment and at the end of the day, hey, guess what? We have a failure implementation. What is your secret? What is your advice to make this implementation affordable? To make this implementation is not like a waste of time of money.
Yeah. So the main thing I would say to that is that SAP has lots of offerings which are standard kind of out of the box offerings, which you can use to protect your investment, I would say. So let me give you an example. Um, once you sign up for S4HANA, you get this. You have the ability to deploy enterprise management layers or best practices or whatever they want to call them, which are essentially, for every industry or every region or country in the world, they have specific templates which you can download and deploy. Now, what that means is that you are getting a pre-configured system, right? That cuts down the cost of implementation. But also, what it means is you are using standard tools and best practices which are aligned to your industry or the country that you're deploying it in. So that means you don't have to develop that. So therefore, the more you standardize, the more you keep your maintenance costs low and you allow your upgrade path to be easier. So for me, there's two things to keep the cost of the implementation down. One is standardization, which is really, really key, more so than ever now, I would say. Yeah. And SAP will recommend that you don't do things like create endless ABAP reports and all these kind of things that we used to do in the old days. They don't recommend you do that. There are tools and services that you can deploy, which allow you to do standard reporting from external from the core system. So standardization is key. Second one is building a template. Typically, as an S4HANA customer, you're going to be a global organization. And if you can put together templates, and let me give you an example. Let's say you're a manufacturing client and you're all over the world, you have manufacturing sites all over the world. You might deploy S4HANA on one of those sites as a pilot. You build that model out as a template, then you can just lift and shift that model to the next site. So you have in effect a manufacturing template. If you can do that and you can get some of those templates together and into your armory for when you do roll out these SAP systems, then what we're doing is you're drastically cutting down your implementation time, and you're also keeping a standard set of tools and everything going for maintenance and ease of maintenance, and also standardization, like template validation, that means that your upgrades that you do every couple of years or however often you do them can be, a couple of months rather than a year or whatever. And so those are the two areas I would recommend everyone starts with to try and drive down costs in SAP implementation. Because as you say, they can be very expensive.
Also, on this part, do you recommend that this company that took the decision to have an ERP software, have an SAP? Let's talk about SAP. So we will hire a vendor, SAP partner, to do this implementation. But do you recommend that we should have like an IT person or like an ERP consultant that can also audit or can also work with them to make sure that we are all on the same page, to make sure that the vendor will give us the most of the system? Do you recommend that also?
You're talking my language here, because this is what you're talking about really is architecture and governance. And also, yeah, absolutely. I think one of the key points, one of the things you often see in SAP projects is They'll outsource the entire project to a systems integrator. And they might well do a very good job, but by definition, they don't know the business as well as you do in-house. And so it's very, very difficult to get a system integrator up to speed on the business goals that you have and understanding all of the different players within the business at the right time. So yeah, um, I would recommend that you need an architecture and governance framework for your implementation. Somebody in, not not to bring the label. That can be. There's a number of ways to do that. Um, it makes sense again. Template eyes of that if you can. So you have a tool which you're reading and everything was sort of the architecture. So you just bought one. There's a tool called Read My Hands. It's a tool we use for rest on one. There's also things around solution manager, SAP solution manager, and ALM. But that'll give you step-by-step architecture and governance guidance to those implementations. But absolutely, it's vital to have the government to have the final say on the implementation within in there.
That really makes sense. So, as we mentioned earlier, the return of investment. How can I know that now, as a business owner, I need an ERP?
The first thing is as soon as you're dealing with external vendors, and particularly if you're dealing with public companies and government bodies, most of those nowadays will require you to meet certain thresholds or certain criteria. For example, they might require e-billing, for example. And that's very difficult to do unless you've got an ERP system. But that's one thing. It's who your customers are, who your suppliers are. And the other thing I think is when you're looking to start, if you move to a situation where it's not just you working there or you one other person, but you start to have a team of people there. You need then to have things like payroll. You need things have HR systems, training systems, all the things which come with managing an organization, and you need an ERP system to automate, because otherwise what you're going to be doing is you're going to spend all of your time manually entering all these things and everything else. And what few other things I was thinking about. So the other one is probably important, which is regulations. So if you're in a certain industry, I'll take the industry that I'm in now, life sciences. And if you're in a life science industry, for example, you have to meet FDA regulations, including Food and Drug Administration in the US. You have to meet their regulations, and there's a really strict set of criteria for that. So if you're manufacturing and selling medical devices, then you have to meet all these criteria. I would defy anybody to try and meet that criteria without an ERP system. So same goes for some of the financial regulations, some of the ISO regulations, any of those regulations you come in, pretty much all of your ERP systems that you get out of the box will be compliant with those regulations. You will find it very difficult to be compliant without an ERP system. So I think it's dependent on A, the size of the company, B, who your customers are, and C, which industry you're in.
Yeah, this is also, I also have this question, and now you answer it, because all the time it's different in SAP Business One.
Right.
SAP Business One it's simple. It's not that.
It's still an ERP, still an ERP, still an ERP though, isn't it? Still an ERP.
Yeah. So this is really, really a very good answer. Moving to the next question, and it's about those people who want to work in this industry, the ERP.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a fresh graduate. Maybe I want to shift my career. I'm not happy. So how can they enter this field, the ERP field? And let's talk about SAP. maybe SAP, because you're SAP guy. So it's not that easy to be an SAP consultant. But what is the steps that I should take to be an SAP consultant?
Yeah, and this is a common question, Khaled. And one of the common questions I get as well is which functional area should I focus my attention on? And I take you consult.
Yeah,
What's
exactly.
the
Also,
important? Yeah, so, um, as someone who kind of fell into SAP by accident, it's difficult for me to answer. But having said that, I've seen a lot of very. What I would say, firstly, brace yourself for a wild ride. See, but but yeah, seriously, the key things I think that are important. Firstly, it's a really really good time to become an SAP consultant right now. Um, yeah, as you know, the some of the older systems like ECC6 are coming up to the end of their supported life in the next few years. In 2027, will be the end of the runaway kind of thing. And so there's a real skill shortage in the S/4HANA area. So that's the first thing. Congratulations for picking the industry. Well, often say to people, you picked the really good one because it's an excellent time. Second thing I would say was, if you can develop in yourself like this sort of kind of continuous learning culture, are changing faster than ever now. And if I look back to, let's say 10 years ago, 10 years ago, you could be an ETC6 consultant, and you could rely on skills that you've learned, 10 years previously to that, and it would be fine. It would not be a problem. Now that would be a problem. Um, if I was recruiting an SAP consultant, I do recruiting for SAP role, I would want some evidence that that person had kept themselves up to speed on their knowledge, understanding, and appreciation of where the industry is going. So, but that continuous learning culture is very, very, very important. Um, in terms of um, the kind of person you should be, I think get yourself known to be someone who gets things done. I would say, I know that's a quote from Barack Obama who said recently, you know, um, become known as someone who just said, let me take care of that. Because it's probably the case that if you're working in an industry now, it's likely that you will have some interaction or you will have some understanding of SAP because what's it, 87% of the global e-commerce goes through SAP. So very, very likely you're going to be working with that. If you can get yourself known, someone gets things done, you can say, let me take care of that, take things off your manager's plate, whatever. You build up your reputation as a doer. And doers go a long way in IT. So that's a really, really key point for me. Um, and then finally, what I would say is, in terms of which functional area you want to go into, say a couple of things. Firstly, as a recruiter of SAP consultants, it's important for me to understand that someone has a broad understanding of SAP. So that necessarily means more than one functional area. However, don't fall into the trap of making yourself a jack of all trades and a master of none. You need to think of yourself as, well, I want to be an expert in this area. I want to be the world class in this particular area. Focus on that. That's the one thing that will carve you out above everything else. If you have a very thin knowledge on everything, and that's okay, but you're never going to be called upon. Oh, we need Khalid because he knows this. And don't say that because you'll have a very thin knowledge. But better to go narrow and deep than broad and shallow, is what I would say. And in terms of which functional area you go to, that's a question which only the person who's asking the question can answer. And it really, I would say, you're trying to set yourself up for a career for life here. So pick something you enjoy, pick something you're good at, pick something you know, and then that's your functional area. Go deep in that area, always make sure you try and understand some of the other areas. And that's pretty easy in SAP because it's such a joined up system and everything connected. So you can do that.
Okay, so also, do you think that before getting to this industry, should I have like some business experience? So let's say I like to be a sales consultant, SD
Mm.
consultant. Should I work on on this field like as a sales employee, as a in the production area, as a plant maintenance engineer before? So do you recommend that, or it's fine that you start without this experience?
It is fine to start without that experience, but that experience, to me, that experience is more valuable. The experience you get from working on the shop floor or in that particular office or whatever, or on the road with a sales guy, that particular experience is much more valuable than anything you learn out of a textbook. So there's two ways to approach it. I think the first way is, you can go down the certification route, and you can come straight out of university or straight out of school, straight to your certification track, become certified, join a global consultancy, and then jump on SAP projects. Nothing wrong with that approach. That's not that approach. I would argue though, if you join the business and let's say you were interested in manufacturing, you joined the business, you got a job on the shop floor, you understood all the concepts around manufacturing, around DevOps, around all this kind of stuff, the way it relates to IT. Um, and once you get that understanding, I would say that you can then jump onto an IT project, and when you start learning the IT concepts, it fits. It fits nicely with your understanding, your experience you've already had. Much more valuable, personally, I think that is. It's much more satisfying to see that your IT skills, your IT systems and solutions fit with the knowledge you've got with your experience. So nothing wrong with either tracks. I always prefer somebody with real time, real life experience in the area they're looking at. And
Yeah,
maybe that's me just being me because that happened to me. I was in that. I've had that experience, and the fact that it's been
yeah,
so valuable to me. So
yeah. When you have this experience, it will make things easier for you, especially with the customers,
yes,
because you will talk with their languages. You know what they mean. You know exactly
that's right.
because you are doing that before. So I'm also with this, but that doesn't mean that also people who are fresh or never get involved in those fields can't join the ERP. No, they can, and they can study hard. As you mentioned, they should make sure that they are doing all the effort to be number one in this industry. That's the goal.
Absolutely.
So, how do you think the AI will transform the ERP future?
Yeah, and it's it's what on tip of everyone's tongue, and everyone's talking about it now in the ERP space. But when there's some obvious things like and AI has been around for a long time. So I think this what we're talking about is generative AI, which is the nuclear on the block, if you like, ChatGPT, etc. And for me, in the ERP space, there's a couple of things just jump out, and the obvious one is that it is like a chatbot. So, for example, you might log on and say, "Is invoice number 1234 paid?" Well, that's an easy thing it's a offer, isn't it? And I'm like, giving around people. Things that have been around for quite some time. LTL, being an optical character recognition technology been around for a while now. Um, and they can automate your inbound sales orders, inbound invoicing. I think one of the big areas, particularly for generative AI, would be in coding. Um, I don't see it replacing developers. So if any developers listening on the call, I wouldn't worry yet. I think, but what I would say is embrace the technology because it can shortcut your work. So you need to embrace it. And I think it will be that generative AI will be embedded in most ERP systems from a coding perspective, at least within a few years. Um, and we've had kind of for decades we've had a very basic version of it where syntax checks which will run automatically when you try and save a program or whatever. I can see that being up front. You get a series of prompts in the future. You log on as a developer that you can ask you what do you want to do. So I want to write a program that does this. Okay, what are the parameters you want to use? Do I want to include parameters? What do you want the output to look like? I want it to look like this. And then it will write a program for you, and then you'll go in and you'll make tweaks and changes according to the requirement. So that's from a coding bit. I think that's the first thing we're going to see. The next thing we're probably going to see are things like, and we started to see it already. If I'm a customer service clerk, for example, I might log on to the system and get asked, what do you want to do today? I want to understand how the invoices have been raised yesterday. Show you, well, the invoices have been raised yesterday. And you want to say, you've been checking in invoice Fire Valley, what's going on there? And we have an invoice story. You have to like, that's forward for the first time for 2 weeks. When do you predict how and what will it only be if you predict that customer will order next time? And so that's when you get the predictive analytics. And some of the models that you build around the predictive analytics. And so I can see a definite move away from kind of the traditional keying in of stuff and keying in transactions or even opening apps, just to more of a kind of conversation almost with your system, and driving down right into lots of exciting stuff to come. SAP have already released their generative AI tool called Joule, which is it's available now already. They're talking about embedding it into lots of applications. So I can only see the other ERP vendors following very, very quickly. So it's a huge growth market.
This is so interesting, but sometimes it makes me fear. So it will make life easier. It will make life easier, 100%. But you don't know also what will happen. So the AI is doing a great job now. What about after 10 years from now? So do you believe that ChatGPT it was released a couple months ago, and now you can see what is happening? I'm 100% sure that for myself, I'm using ChatGPT all the time. I was assigning some tasks to an assistant. Now ChatGPT is doing it for me. So
Yeah.
I don't know what will happen, but I hope that we still have our jobs. We still have our also AI can do this human sense, the
From an IT
so
perspective, I think we're kind of okay because we need to be the ones to train these models to work. Where I would be concerned is, let's say, if I was an interpreter, we already have AI which can interpret everything that someone says in any language and translate it into any other language. So that would be where I'll be concerned. If I was an artist, painter, there's already AIs that can paint pictures however you want them of whatever you want. And so that would be the concern I have. And are we going headlong into it and with our eyes shut? I don't necessarily think we are. I think actually, from an IT perspective, there are lots of discussions around the ethics of AI and around how we can make sure that we don't that we look after personal data. For example, if I'm working for a company and I ask them chatbot something um, about my individual company, I don't necessarily want them to retain that information and use it to build out somebody else, because that's proprietary information in the organization. A lot of work goes to ensure that modern day generative AI don't do that and protect your data. So, being somebody who
Mm.
is a technology optimist, I'm quite excited about the future rather than worried about it.
We will see.
Yes, we will see.
We will see.
Yeah.
Okay, so your book, you wrote a book for SAP. And what is this book about? So to let the audience know, tell us more about this story.
Okay, yeah, sure. So, I'll try and keep it not such a long story. A friend of mine once told me that if you're not sharing, sorry, if you're not uncomfortable with the amount of value you're sharing for free, then you're not sharing enough. Right? So what I've done as a
Oh,
result of that is that I've got all this experience in my head. What's the point of it just being in my head? So started sharing on LinkedIn. Started sharing. I started writing blogs for certain magazines and websites. I started sharing tips. I do a Friday SAP tip every week on LinkedIn, for example. And then I started getting approached by, after a few months of doing that, approached by websites and by organizations to write things for them, which was great. So I've done, blogs and articles for the Weekly, for Eurofact, where with Brittany and I see organizations. I started doing something for them. Then one day, I had a message from every other week. He said, "Do you have a Dr. James of Puma?" And it's like, it started SAP Press book for the business user guide to sales and distribution in SAP. And the trouble is, he said, if he started a new contract and he's really busy, he's not going to be able to get around to doing it. And also, there's a lot of the pieces with it, yeah, so he's not sure about. So could I help? And I said, yeah, great, sounds great. So me just thinking that that would be an easy thing to do turned into kind of a 6-month project for me and for him. So we shared the chapters, if you like. We wrote the book out and we got it done a couple of years ago now, maybe 3 years ago. And it was published by SAP Press called the Business User Guide to Sales Distribution in SAP. And then as a result of that, the publishing editor contacted me afterwards and said, look, we'll buy a certification group for sales in SAP. We'd like you to do it. We know that you're busy with this other book at the moment, so do you know anybody who might be able to help us? And I, of course, had some contact and reached out to a friend of mine, Gary, who he's got to then we came with the same problem that he had a lot of experience in ECC6 presenting, but not in S4 HANA. So he asked me, would I be willing to write a chapter for that? So we shared that book out as well. So the long and short of it is, I've got 2 books out, both by SAP Press. One is the Business User Guide, and one is a certification guide for how to get certified in sales and PT. So it's available on the SAP Press website. If we can have a look, they're available in print books, ebooks, and bundles. So yes, good fun. Well, it's a lot of
we
hard work.
definitely share the links to our audience.
Of
And
course,
good
yes.
for you, John. You really deserve this. Everybody is learning from you. Sometimes when you are not sharing the knowledges that you know, when you are not talking, another person that don't have this knowledge will talk, and guess what? He will deliver incorrect things to people. That's what I understand, especially now in the social media. You can see in the TikTok, in the YouTube, everywhere, how many person will not give you any value is sharing his content, and
Yeah.
how many person that have a valuable content is not sharing it. Sorry.
Yeah, I would say to everyone, um, there's this thing in that it's in this imposter syndrome. Everyone thinks that they don't know as much as everybody else and they'll be laughed at or whatever. I would say ignore that because I'm sure the guys are listening to this and watching next, know far more than they think they know. And I would say just start somewhere. Share anything, right? Anything you can. And it will be valuable to somebody, and somebody will appreciate it.
Yeah.
What I found is as I've been sharing for, every week for years now, and I found that as my network grows and increases, I learn more because I have a broader network and I see more that comes up. What that means is in the SAP world, I'm really on top of all the new innovations that are coming because I can see them because my network is broad and they're sharing and I'm sharing. And it becomes a really nice community. Also, it's a community that will help each other out as well. If I have issues with certain ERPs, I can reach out to somebody in the community and they're always more than willing to help. So I would recommend everybody just get involved, share something, and we'll just see it snowballing and yeah, that's what I would recommend.
I agree with that also. And we are lucky that you are sharing with us. Okay, so John, you have a team, you are managing this team. What is the best advice for any manager to get the best from his team?
Yeah, wow, what a big question. I think for me, Khaled, the best advice I would say to any manager is it's not about the work. Um, the the managers that focus on the work, I think, miss the most important thing, which is the people. Um, as a manager, if you can focus all your attention on your people, um, and make sure that they are fulfilled, they are um, they are happy, and they are working toward the common goal, and they understand what that common goal is, then they'll do the work for you. They'll do good work already. So um, it's all about providing a safe place for your employees to talk to you about whatever they need to talk to you about. And that might well be, the direction their career is going. It might even be about another job that they've seen that might be useful. But be under no illusions that your job as a manager is to make sure that they progress in their career and they understand what's required of them. And that you are doing everything in your power to bring them along. And part of that for me is allowing them the time and the space to grow and to be visible to other members in the organization. You can get that image and that exposure um, for your team. Yeah, they'll become more widely known in the business, and their career will take off. So yeah, all about the people, not the work. That's what it is for me.
Yeah, so I believe that humanity is the most important thing, as you mentioned. As an employee in my whole life, when I have a good manager that was treating me well, I can give him all what he can. But if I felt that he's not treating me as a human, he's putting a lot of pressures on me, at this point, no, I don't want to work with him, even if I will lose my job.
Yeah,
It's easy to take this decision.
there's a saying, wasn't there? Employees don't leave bad jobs; they leave bad managers. So yeah, something to bear in mind for managers.
And any manager, I remember him. I'm not remember him as the best experienced guy in the world. No, I remember the human things that he did for me. So that's what I remember when I remember. Oh, this person. I remember when he helped me on 1 2 3. I remember when he was so patient. I remember, but I don't remember when he fixed this big issue on the. No, I don't remember that.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so my last question for you, John, And I really appreciate your time today. I really
No problem.
appreciate that you accept the invitation. The last question, it's not a technical thing.
Okay.
What is your philosophy in life?
I don't know if I have a philosophy so much, but I think what I try to do, and what I try to do is um, throw myself into everything that I do. Um, and what I've found in the past is, if there are things that I don't like, we've all got things we don't like to do, right? In our life, things that are boring. Or if you throw yourself into it, force yourself to do it, just get on with it, then either it becomes shorter and quicker and you get it done faster, or you actually realize you do like it. So I've always been somebody who tries to do that, who tries to follow that, not just in work but in personal life as well. So um, I'll I've already mentioned I'm not a morning person, so I don't throw myself in the mornings, but I do try to throw myself into my work. I try to throw myself into my friendships, into my hobbies, everything else. And it's a kind of a fear, I suppose, a fear of not meeting my potential. I suppose is what it is. I'm underlying, but I read a book once called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, and that was all about that. It was all about, look, your life um, can be dull and boring. Throw yourself into everything that you do, and that's kind of worked for me as a mantra. And I always have to remind myself that when there's something that I'm bored doing or I don't want to do, just think, okay, just get on with it, throw yourself into it, do it, and it's so satisfying when it's done. And actually, it's even more satisfying when you realize that you like it, you enjoy it. So there's my life lesson for today. Whether it's any good or not, you can decide.
That's a very good words from you, John. I am 100% sure that a lot of people will be happy with this episode. So, all the time, I see you as John, the technical guy. But today, after meeting you, you are a very, very good person. I like talking to you very much. I feel comfortable, and I really appreciate that you accepted our invitation to you.
Well, yeah, I mean, firstly, thanks for having me on. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking to you, Leonard. Good questions, very nice collaboration. And I really like ERP talks. I like the format of it. I like the fact that you don't have to talk just about ERP. It could be about your life and your hobbies or anything like that, which is great. And I think that's if if you're asking what do I like about it, that's what I would say is your life's about people, not about technologies and about ERPs or anything else. And
Exactly.
ERPs are products of what the people put into them. And so it's really really good when you get these, and some of your previous guests have been the same. When I've been watching them and understanding that, you're getting understanding of that person, and and it kind of informs your way of thinking about life. And it's really interesting to see that the ERP is a diverse landscape, it's a diverse community, and so I would recommend, just really can carry on doing what you're doing, carry on focusing on the people and the people side of it, and I'm sure your audience is going to grow and grow because I really like it. It's a really good initiative.
I want to thank you very much, John, again and again. And I hope we can have another episode with you. Thank you so much for listening this episode with Jon Simmonds. We will make sure to share all the links regarding John books with you, and have a good day.